Hello, good people. Happy Thursday. You know what that means. It's time for Queens Glean. And this is the after conversation to King Speak. King Speak airs on Tuesday. We had an amazing conversation with King level man, Coach Talib Jasir, and we talked all about kingdom thinking. Everything flows from a mindset, right? So we talked a lot about things from there. And that was season 2, episode 10. So we're going to dive into the after show. Grab your wine, share this with a friend, and let's have this good conversation. Yes, y'all. Welcome to season 2, episode 10 after show for the Kings Speak show titled Kingdom Thinking, which was really amazing. Of course, like always, a lot of great stuff in there. But you know, after the men talk on Kings Speak, I got to get with my girls and see what they think about everything. So you know how we do. Let's dive into this conversation. All right, Miss Surrendered, the Surrendered Society. And if you're in that, you might learn something about a surrender session. But we're going to tap right in and get into Miss Queen Keandra.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
I got my wine. Am I alone?
Yes, girl. Not today. I've been sneezing galore.
Oh, is it the allergies still?
We're back on that. And I'm just like,
Dang
you know,
it.
when you're not up for it.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand.
But 2 days
sip
ago,
for both of us.
Sip for both of us, because a couple of days ago I was sipping on tequila, probably for half the day. So your girl's still here. We're not doing it tonight.
Understand.
And y'all know how we do. We have a whole panel.
You,
yeah, you too. So Queen Cookee is running a little bit late. You know how traffic in LA can be. There's that. So we're gonna let her get in.
It's back.
Yeah, it is. And check this out.
Traffic is definitely back.
We like that little banner at the bottom or what?
Look at that. So cute.
Just to remind you people to join the conversation, share your thoughts. We love seeing you in the comments. So we're going to let that reminder roll for a little bit.
We level up every time.
Okay. There's always going to be something new. So I am going to open up Facebook because there are times where we get comments on Facebook and they don't show up here. So let me get this open. How's your week been?
It's been a challenging week. You know, like I just had, it just seems like on every level, there's been some sort of challenge. And then of course, collectively, you know, just yesterday, was it Tuesday? Actually, yeah, it was Tuesday. Yes. You know, just with what we're all experiencing with the grief and these constant murders by police and just the tension with that, like it just, I don't always expect to feel it so deeply, but when it happens, it's like just this well of emotions that just has to pour through. So, you know, been feeling that. But today, honestly, I do feel a lot better. Mm-hmm. Definitely did some deep self-care, taking some moments to just be, to let the emotions flow, to feel, to get clarity, to have conversations, to having a therapy session. So all that. So definitely feeling better about my perspective and grateful to have those, you know, those people for support to lean on in those moments to get some additional clarity, or just, again, just someone that can hold the space to witness everything that's happening.
Yeah, that part, that holding the space, because you know me, girl, I can only take so much. I'd be checking out. So I'd be like, ooh, dang, that's crazy. But you're right. I can definitely sense the heaviness in the air. And I'm also being mindful of not combining that with my own stuff that I have going on, because then it just becomes too much. And I don't want to put myself in a position. I'm being sensitive with myself. I told a friend of mine, like, this is the first time in my life where I've been positioned to fully relax almost. Like, yes, I still have to get up and get things or whatever, but it's just different. And so I'm still catching up with myself, like I'm sure everyone else is doing, especially after 2020, along with trying to stay abreast of everything going on. And Sigh. One time for the sigh.
One time for a good sigh. And a deep cry when it's necessary.
When it is necessary, because I would be over here doing that too. Tears are such a release, and I'm not afraid of that.
Yes, yes. I'm with you.
Yes. Well, this is a panel show, and it wouldn't be a show if it wasn't for Miss Love and good music in the building. So let's give it up for Queen Cookee. She done made it.
I done made it.
I done made it. He done made it.
I was like, Jaimi, girl, you're going to have to start this show without me, girl. You're going to have to start it because this traffic is not working right now.
It's completely back. The COVID traffic that we all got used to it's a wrap.
So disrespectful. Like, I don't live far from my job, so it makes me so upset when I can't get home in a timely manner. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah. So sorry, I'm tardy for the party, but I'm here.
No, but you right on time. Look at our little scroll at the bottom, girl.
I saw that. I was like, ooh, we fancy.
Just letting people know they can join the conversation and share their thoughts in the comments. And
where's
we're
just checking
in. Right. Where's our boy? How was your week? How you feeling? How you doing? We're checking in. Temperature check.
I can't believe it's Thursday. My week is flying by. I'm like, wait, it's already Friday. Happy that it's already Friday, but I'm like, wait, it's already Friday. I don't even know what I did. It's just going so fast. It's going so fast. I just feel like so much has gone on this week, in the media, and it's just like another draining week, and then life, and then it's just been a lot.
And then here you are for Thursday night.
I know.
It's like
I look forward to these. Really liked Talib's interview Tuesday. Sorry, I caught it yesterday. But he dropped a lot of gems. So excited to chat and see what clips you chose.
Oh yeah. So that's perfect. And you know how we always do. We start by honoring the king level man that spoke. So the title of the show was Kingdom Thinking, and I really feel like he nailed that with this. So what did you guys think about Talib as a whole?
I thought he was brilliant. I really appreciated his perspective of reminding us about personal responsibility and that we don't have to subscribe to the fear and the shame and a lot of the constructs that are, put out here to essentially control us in a particular way, that we can really take control of our lives, that we don't have to, subscribe to the pathologies of our family or, just others that are within our community or circles, we definitely can take responsibility for ourselves. And it begins with just making a decision with our mind. So I thought he was really, really brilliant. And I definitely rocked with a lot of what he had to say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. What you think, Queen Cookee?
I was over here looking at my notes because there was something that he said yesterday that I had to write down. And he said, basically, when you're thinking about if you want to make a decision, he's like, what do you have to gain versus what do you have to lose? And I think that is kind of was super powerful for me because I feel like that's where I'm at in my life. Like when I don't want to make a decision, I'm like, okay, do I want to stay the same person or do I want to grow? And so when he said that last night, I was like, I totally wrote that down because I'm like, okay, that's going to be my, go-to when I'm on the fence about something. Like, what do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose. You really never really have anything to lose, but there's so much fear, built up inside of us that we'll often let that fear dictate us not making a move, period. And we really had nothing to lose. And so that was probably my favorite thing that he said. I mean, he said a lot of good things last night. I liked also what he said, become the possibility for others. That was another thing that I wrote down.
So good.
Going beyond yourself and being that for others. It actually inspired me to, want to share more about myself because I'm like, let me let people know it's possible. And I think that that's the people that we look up to in today's day and age. Most people, who you watch or you follow, it's because they make it possible and you want to follow that because you like what they're doing. They're making they're trailblazing in their own way, and that's why you follow them, that's why you watch them, that's why you buy their stuff, and so that was just was a whole lot, but that was like my favorite takeaway.
Yeah. No, it's good. He had a whole lot in there, and he's a very accomplished man. He has a lot of stuff, but I noticed that a lot of the things that he puts together is all about mindset. And that's, I love that because I share so much about it because that's my personal biggest struggle. And I watch myself too. I watch myself think myself right out of something or induce extra fear because of my thought process, or find myself wondering where those thoughts came from and why, and is it taking me where I want to go? Like, is this helping me or hurting me? So mindset is a huge thing for me. And so we have a few topics today. Your greatness isn't about you. Behavioral blind spots, own your stuff, and committed but detached. So these are all things that he talked about. So we going
Well, we get so excited though.
I mean,
right. It's the little things.
We're like, magic.
I mean, in case y'all want to know what we're talking about in this first
there you go.
subject here, you own. It's no longer a mystery. We can share in this. So let's dive into the first clip from Kingdom Thinking with Talib Jasir.
You think you got it, and something punch you in the side of the face. I have this quote, and it's your greatness isn't about you, and some people are waiting for you to realize that, so you can just get out the way, stop focusing on yourself, stop considering all the things that you think are not right about you or not worthy or mattering, and become possibility for others. And so it goes beyond the why, it goes beyond the what. It becomes the possibility. You showing up here, me showing up here, you doing the work you do, the work I do, says to someone else that I can as well. Says to someone else that I could do that and do it better, or I could do that and take this angle with it, or whatever it looks like. But as the road gets tough, and it most certainly will, why would you want anything that just isn't something? And I'm not saying life needs to be tough, but I don't want anything that I can just reach out and get it. I wouldn't feel like I earned it. I wouldn't feel like I did it. I needed to learn some things. I needed to process some things. I need to unlearn some things in order for me to be, so that my doing and having makes more sense to me. And so it's possibility for me. It really is. Yeah.
No. Yes, a little psychic energy. I really love this clip too, because immediately when he said it, I felt my world open up more. And we can get so caught up in doing the things that need to be done and it's not so much about the why, but the undercurrent even of that why, and opening up space for what that is. So what did you guys think about that? Your greatness isn't about you.
It's not.
Yeah, I agree.
He was accurate with that. I mean, I think I touched on it a little bit before, but I mean, that was just so powerful when he was talking about that, because I think, like you said, Jaimi, we get so caught up in what and who we want to be that we forget that we're here for something bigger than we even know. And I feel like sometimes we're on the hamster wheel, so busy chasing things that are not even in alignment with what we're here to do, our purpose, or our whole, journey is actually meant for something, and you missed it all the way. Most of us miss it all the way. And so, yeah, I definitely agreed with what he said. I mean, not most, everyone is put here for a reason bigger than they could even know. And your life journey is to tap into that and to find it and get as close as possible to it in this journey. I think that's your whole mission. But we get so caught up in so many other things that are so unnecessary and that are so just not even important to us. And that's media, the media, social media, it's, life, everything takes all of these precedents over purpose, over what we're here for. And so that was a reminder for me. He literally set some things right for me yesterday, because I was like, I'm on the hamster wheel too sometimes, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know it because you feel it when you're in your purpose and when you're walking. And so, it's like, shout out to him for, putting that and instilling that in me, that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all the other things that I focus on, and I just thought it was great and a good mind reset for me personally, because I was getting off course too. And you got to remember the mission, and
for real,
I was knocked off, and Talib reminded me there's a bigger mission, girl. Keep going.
He snatched you right back.
Yeah.
Like, come on, girl.
I was going off track, but thank you for that.
Yes. Totally agree with what Cookee just said. And it was a reminder and a reset for me too. I like that you said that, because I felt the same. I think a lot of times, especially because, we all have visible, I guess, expressions and parts of our purpose. And there are times when I'll hesitate with putting something out there, or overthink it, or doubt it. And there's pieces of my story that it's like, let me hold on to that, because I'm still a little too afraid to share it. Or, I tend to basically get in my ego, as opposed to allowing whatever it is that I've learned, the lesson, the ugly parts, the shame, the fear, the whatever, the imperfection, to allow it to just be an example for someone else, that it can be something that's overcome. Our greatness really isn't about us. And I think the interesting thing that it also reminded me of, is that we don't really know how it's going to impact someone. Like, we can't control which pieces of our story actually will resonate with someone, what parts of our purpose, how it actually will impact someone, when it will impact us or them. We have no control over that. We just simply are here, to be simply put, the hands and feet of God, and how we get used is, is truly up to him. That's just a part of what it is. But, kind of holding back on those pieces that we can sometimes get afraid of, I think it blocks whatever it is that's meant to be done in someone else's life, or whatever example is meant to be displayed. We're the ones that can get in the way of that, when we just don't allow ourselves to be available and just roll with life, and not get so caught up in the details that can make us feel afraid, ashamed, or holding back.
Yeah, girl, well said. That even ministers to me, because I'm in that space right now of re-identification. And it is kind of like, we're always in our own way. Where am I getting in my own way? Where am I too afraid, or too this or that, to just do what I'm hearing? And that can really, again, to the way you think, that can be a major hindrance. And I always trust that things will happen in the right time, but we can get in the way of that if we are not open to the flow of life, like you said. And that's so much easier said than done, because the majority of us, we weren't raised on no flow. We were raised linear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is, you do this first, and this and this. And you don't realize how small it is until you start to get uncomfortable. But like, I'm ready to be at 9. Can I do 9 and then 1? And then, depending on who you are. So it's just, if you take it back to that thought about your greatness not being about you, you always have something to share, even if you don't think you know what to share. Because like you said, you don't know what's going to impact somebody, when, how. And I've always been able, I think I put something on the internet in like 2015. And last year, the top of last year, somebody had reached out to me like, that inspired me. I wanted to know if we could do this. And I'm thinking, that was 5 years ago. But hey, get it how you live it. When you come across it is when you come across it. And that type of stuff inspires me. Even when I don't think I know what I'm doing, I'll never stop moving. I'm going to just keep going, because doing is going to offer something more to others than it is and me, to just not do nothing because I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. That actually also kind of reminds me of the pressure, especially when it comes to social media, of how we feel like, what does it look like to actually be great? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like we're not even allowing the greatness to just authentically flow, as you say, because it seems like we have to manufacture it, like if it's not glossy, flossy, if we're not, extremely I don't know, intelligent sounding, or, the photo shoot isn't this, or the language isn't that, or, whatever. Like, it's almost like we also have gotten into a place where we're manufacturing greatness rather than just allowing people to just not be so polished and not always have it together and be in their phase. But wherever they are in that phase, there is still something that can help someone else along the way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be so front and forward facing, like it can be something that happens off camera, you know what I mean? And allowing that to also be okay too.
Right.
So yeah, like it's an interesting thing of being okay with allowing the greatness, but also in the authenticity of it, not feeling like it has to be on display in a particular type of way.
Not only that, and allowing your imperfections to be that too, because I think so many people will resonate with you because you're not perfect and because they feel like you're like them. And I feel like that's where you really reach people, is when you feel like, oh, that person's just like me. Oh, they go through the same things that I go through. And I feel like when you become human to people is when they really receive your message. And it's usually the messages that you didn't even know you were sending. Like you said, Jaimi, you didn't even know, but it was just you being you. And that's when people resonate. That's when people gravitate to, your messages or what you're trying to put out, is because, like Keandra said, there's that authenticity there, because there was not pressure to perform. It was just you putting it out there. And it touched who it was supposed to touch in the moment and when it was supposed to happen. It wasn't 5 years ago when you put the interview out. It was now. It was now, or the quote out, or whatever you put out. But you see how divine timing works, But if you wouldn't have put that out, that wouldn't have circled back. So that's one of those powerful moments that was definitely a huge, sign, full circle. And those are those things that I always say thank you for, because I'm like, oh, look at how that worked out so wonderfully, and all the pieces that had to align for that. And that's when like, so much, it's so powerful, that's when like, it's something bigger than you working.
Absolutely.
And if you don't recognize that, I don't know what the hell else could hit people. For something that divine to happen, those type of alignments to happen, it's crazy. It's just,
yeah. And it's powerful on so many levels, because it feels so good to help somebody. Like, not even just so I could get the kudos, but I just like, that blessed you, that helped you, like that lights me up. I'm so grateful for those moments and opportunities. Like, it is a gift to me to help someone else. So, I used to be on AfterBuzz TV, and we had an after show for that show, God Friended Me. And it's very much about, oh, we got a Facebook friend, and then it'll show a location, it'll do this and that. And then you start finding yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting these people to help them with whatever. But all of that to say is, like, I call it the algorithm. It's like, divine has its own algorithm too. So it's like, when you get the request, do you move? When you see show up here, do you go? Do you know what I'm saying? So these things really are being orchestrated behind the scenes in a way where all you supposed to do is be listening. That's the flow.
Yes, that alignment is everything. I mean, because I don't know if people even realize that this show is basically a part of that alignment. Like, it was it was so spontaneous, like it literally was just an idea that you had of like, hey, let's do this, let's gather a few people, and we all connected, more intimately here online, like I just met Kira, Kira Renee in person at Target. I didn't even get a chance to tell you, Cookee, but we finally met in person. I happened to be at Target. Yes. And I'd like, with the mask on and everything, I still, recognized her, but it was like, oh my on. But just, just the beautiful thing of what's been
Mhm.
created and how it's been a blessing in not only our lives individually, but for the lives of those who've tuned in. It's been amazing. And that was something that was totally just an intuitive nudge and something that, that you moved with, Jaimi, and that we just, even in our own, even availability or just whatever, was just like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll get on. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not prepared.
for sure.
I think that day, like, something was going on with my eyes. My hair was not really good, but it was like, whatever. Like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And I love that. And it was one of those things. And I'm telling you, that's what keeps me moving. I may not always get it right, but I'm a very idea driven person. And I have my ups and downs where I feel not so sure because I'm pouring out ideas left and right. I always got something like, ooh, what about this? Should I make that? Like, it's always this stuff. But even in that, you either come to what it is you're really supposed to be doing or pick up some fun things along the way. So this is like, I guess, on a personal tip for you guys, what do you hope that people gain from experiencing you and what you create?
That's a good question.
Healing
like
for
that.
me. It's definitely healing. I want
Healing.
people to just be like, your story helped me through something. That's like the biggest payback for me, reward for me when someone says like, oh, that really touched me or that really felt good, to my soul. I'm like, then that's what it was for. That's enough for me. That's a blessing for me. I love when people say like, oh, what you created touched me. Like, that's big for me. I'm like, wow, that's my baby moving. That's my light in motion. And so for me to send out light beams to people and they receive them, it's like beautiful. And I think that that's the biggest, like I said, reward for me is to know that people saw something, they felt something, and it was a good feeling. And, and maybe even a feeling of healing or hope. And that's all you can ask for.
I love it. I love that. What about you, Keandra?
Ooh, I would also agree with the healing and also what is possible when you heal yourself to where you can prioritize your well-being and what's possible to come through your life, as a result of that. I think we have, unfortunately, we have very limited examples of what embodied possibility looks like, and with healing and with not tolerating and settling for the crumbs that we're often offered. When it comes to society, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in, our career and what we want for family and really just breaking out and carving new paths for ourselves. And so I hope that I embody what that looks like and what's possible for someone who stands up and no longer tolerates just status quo, who pioneers and believes in what God said and who I am, what God said and who God says that I am, what it looks like when you actually believe in that.
Yes, I love that as well. And, for me, it's kind of like that tail part of what you just said, Keandra. It's so important for me for people around me to not only feel like they can be themselves, but for them to be all of themselves in the fullness of who they are. Like whatever it is you want to create. I've been quoting this since 2008 when I got the opportunity to wake up to even asking God, why am I here? Who am I? Like, what am I doing? And it was very important to me. It's like, well, God's the creator. We're made in his image. So we're creators too. And I don't want anyone around me to ever feel like what they want to create is impossible or stupid or they can't do this. Everything is figure outable. I will find a way to make anything happen. I don't care what it is, but get it out. If you want Superman to come from the sky and land in the middle of your event, we gonna figure this out. It ain't
I'm
too
sure
big,
he's for
it
hire.
ain't too crazy. Come on. So I'm very passionate about, purpose in a particular way, because I feel like that natural order and flow that we're all looking for lies in the comfortability of all of us walking in the truth of who we are. Not just me being, but how do we link up? How do we sync up? How does this algorithm flow? How do we move? Just like the ocean, if you're trying to be this, or, you know, Keandra, how you were speaking to earlier with social media, too polished, too right, too clean, where you at? Like,
Right.
and if that's you, cool. But how, it's a healing, it's a stripping away of old ideas. It's a certain level of belief in yourself. And I just hope that in everything I do, I create space for that. Like, I'm hype. What you make, I'm hype. Like, I'm so hyped for it, you know? So I love that stuff. So that's how I'm hoping to be, what people can gain from my experience. Like, you know what? I'm going to go home and start that podcast. Like, you do it, girl.
Yes, do it.
Yes, exactly. Let me give you some resources. Call my girl. Like, here's the website. You know? So, and we're all women with a lot of experiences. So I know we have so much, just because we've all said yes in so many different ways, whether it was to a relationship, a job, a friendship, being on a team, doing this. Like, all of our yeses are a big collection of gifts that we can give to someone else, even if it's just like, oh, have you heard of, you know, this website? This is so valuable when you're
being a resource.
Like, being a resource. Yeah. You're trying to get something done and you feel stuck. Like, help me out. So I love that. Well, this was a great one. Now we're gonna go on to topic number 2. Behavioral blind spots. Sometimes we can't see what we're doing now, but we do it anyway. So let's see what Talib has to say about that.
For a long time, we have a lot of blind spots. You know, I'm clear that my head was up my butt for years. I'm clear of it. I know what was happening. I had no idea why I was showing up this way, what I was creating, what I was contributing, until I did. And that's a process. You know, that's something that you grow into, and thankfully we've been able to grow together.
Yes. So you notice he said I had to ask him about his woman now, because he's been with his woman for 17 years and they made it through a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So, you know, he admitted to knowing that his head was up his butt in certain seasons. And, you know, so my question to you, well, first, what did you guys think about what he had to say?
I loved it. I thought it was, you know, real.
Yes.
I think, you know, like I don't know if he mentioned it right after this, but he had mentioned it in one part of the interview, is to, at some point you have to decide, you know, whether or not you're going to change, you know, and so that takes looking in the mirror and accountability, and that sucks, you know, that's hard. That's the part that people, I mean, a couple of times I looked at my mirror and was like, okay, no, not ready yet. I was like,
you good, girl, it's fine.
I'm not going there right now. Those feelings, I'm not trying to go there. And there's still some things I need to work on. You know, there's still some things that, it's too painful right now, you know, or this is not the right season for that. So, you know, I really loved that he was accountable for those moments and those years that he didn't want to, you know, rectify the things that were, you know, maybe harming his partner, hurting his partner, or his family, or his friends, or his job life, whatever. And I think we all have several years where our heads are up our butts. And, you know, myself included, every year, you know, as much as like people put a stigma on age, every year that I get older, I feel like I get better. And I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Even just last year, like, you know, what the hell was I thinking? I feel like last year my head was at my butt, and that was my best year ever. You know what I mean? That was my best. That was my best, and my head was still up my butt. And so I'm like, you know, that if you are still not growing from if you look back at last year and you're still in your same place, your head's still up your butt, you know, and it's okay, because there was a lot of years where I didn't even move. You know, I was in the same, probably from like 23 to 27. I don't know what happened. I was just too busy partying, like, you know, just same person, same girl, same rotation, you know, and then, you have to like choose that to grow. And so I really like that he, you know, mentioned that. And that's why I think we admire his interview so much is because you see such a polished person sitting there talking and having all this knowledge, and then for him to say, "I'm ahead with my," you're like, "Oh wow, you too."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You with all the answers to the questions, you had your, so it makes him human, like we talked about right before this. It makes him relatable. It makes you want to like Talib even more than we already do, because you're like, wow, now I know you messed up in your past and you've made it right. Possibility.
And I love that you said that too, about loving the way we see him more, because I imagine his partner has to be doing the same. It's like,
yes. I mean, after 17 years, it's probably the only way they've been able to make that last. You have to keep seeing your partner in a different light, and a good light.
Okay with it. And the fact that he, as a woman, if I was with a man like that, the fact that he's willing to grow. I might not have liked these certain years, but to watch you get it together, and you love me enough to continue to choose me, to continue to try, to continue to choose yourself. Like, okay, you real sexy tonight. All right. I like that. I may not have liked all of the seasons, but I have the space to give you the growth, because you're doing it on your own. You're doing it. And I see it. I respect you for it. And I'm sure for him, he's like, oh, this woman done stayed with me with my head up my tail.
Right.
Too.
And that's where he gives her credit, because she stayed while his head was up his butt. And that's where you got to give your woman credit for holding you down.
Yeah.
And so now that your head is out, honor her for that. That's when you give. And that's why I love that they stayed together, because he could have got his head out of his butt and went to the next one, because that's usually what men do. Once they get their life together, they usually go to the next woman, because now they're ready, and now they're ready. They got, and so I'm so glad that they grew out of whatever they were at, and they grew together. And 17 years later, I mean, that's amazing. Congratulations. And, shouts out to him for staying down with the person who stayed with you. And I love it. I love to see it. I love to see those stories. I truly, truly do.
Yeah. What did you think about it, Keandra?
There's really not much more to add. I think both of you guys really covered it. It was the accountability part, definitely for me to at least have someone in his life who he actually cared enough about to actually grow, but then also that same amount of care and love for himself in order to grow. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it has to be both ways in order for real, true transformation and growth to actually happen. And so the accountability, that definitely must be there, in order for him to even be motivated to like, all right, let me slowly pull my head out of my ass and do what it is that I need to do to be better, be a better man, but also be a better man for my woman.
I love it. And, really that takes us into the third topic easily, which is own your stuff. Because to get to the
I don't want to.
I don't want to right now.
It takes courage.
It takes courage. It takes
Come back tomorrow.
Mine's tail.
Today I'm not ready.
Not today. Sorry. Let's see what Talib had to say about this.
When you can own a thing, you can take agency over a thing, and when we don't take the time to examine why we are, what comes up for us, what shows up for us, this idea, and you mentioned it earlier, is these thoughts that are given to us, where we have such a strong measurement outside of ourselves versus what we just know to be true, or what our intuition or our instinct tells us, that we get this concept of be vulnerable. Well, I got to first be vulnerable here first. I got to first ask myself, what is it? What the hell is wrong with you? Where is it coming from? Why is it showing up in this way? And once you're able to allow space for that, then you can start to begin to take agency of it and shape it and transmute it. I truly believe that.
Yeah. I'm so on that word transmute right now. That's a different action word where I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. And in each step, I'm trying to change it. But how can I transmute it? Because the energy is still there. It's just, what can I make it look like? So, how often do you guys find yourself examining your beliefs?
I'm a pretty reflective person. Yeah, I'm pretty reflective. So I feel like I'm examining my beliefs all the time. This was actually one of my favorite pieces of his interview because I'm just such a believer in self-mastery and not that I've mastered it myself, but it's something that I'm committed to in my own life and really do believe that, our life is basically happening through the filter of our own beliefs. And so when you do spend the time to get those beliefs and the things that you believe about life, once those things are shaped and you take the time to sit with, is this actually mine or is it someone else's, and measuring it up against how it is that you feel about it. And, all of that, like, that was just like, yes, that is what it's about. Like, we can take ownership of our own thoughts and take agency over our lives. We don't have to live our life based on someone else's experiences or through their pain or through their filter or, through the pathologies of our past and our wounds and our trauma. Like, all of those things can definitely be stopped the moment we make a decision to have something better and believe that we're worthy of having something better. So I was with it. That part, you can already see my energies even a little bit.
You about to jump off the couch.
Right.
Yeah. That was hitting for me.
Yes, no, I'm with it.
I agree. So, alchemy, transmuting, energy, all of that has been heavy in my life rotation, I would say, in the past year or two, just because once you learn how to turn negative energy into something positive, you almost want to do it for every part of your shadow self. Man. And that's kind of just been where I've been at. I got a lot of shadows still, like I just told you guys a second ago, but I'm learning how to not only, but you can't keep that inside because that's stagnant, dead energy inside you. So you have to somehow get it out of you and push it into somewhere positive, whether it's that new podcast or that new business or that something. Take something's inside of you that has been looming inside of you, hurting you and holding you back, and push it out. Whatever that shadow is, it's probably a blessing on the other side of that. And so that's honestly what I kind of started doing in my show. I was like, well, let me share my shadows and how I got out of them. Let me share what this looks like, because it's ugly as hell. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel good. This stuff is not fun. This stuff is not easy. Owning your shit is hard work. It hurts. Sometimes sometimes you got to go through it a couple of times. There's been so many things I thought I was over. Let me circle back so quick in my life. Like, no, bitch, we're not done.
Yeah,
we're not done here.
Here you go.
We're not done here. You're not done. And so, I was like, damn, I thought I was done with this. Why are you doing this to me, God? Why? And so I read this great quote the other day. It was like, life is a spiral, energy spirals. So no matter what in life, you're always going to see the same lessons. It's just how you work through those lessons. And as your lens changes, you have to, respond differently. And that's when you break the cycle. That's when you break those curses. That's when you break those things inside of you. And that's what, transmuting that energy truly is when you can say, this is the same lesson and it doesn't feel the same this time. It doesn't hurt this time. That jealousy doesn't come out this time. Anger doesn't come out this time. Resistance doesn't come out this time. That's what it is. And so, as hard as it is, and I'm not perfect, I still like that. I need to own a lot of shit. It feels so good though when you own something and it comes and you like, damn bitch, I got you. You know, it feels so good to know that it's no longer in control of you.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a powerful, it's like a lifting of like I said, that dead energy inside of you, it lifts. It's a weight lifted out of you, and you are now more powerful for it. You're lighter. You can flow, like we've been saying, you know. And so I'm an advocate for doing that hard work, because it's transformed my life. And I barely got started with that stuff like 1 to 2 years ago. I can't imagine what my life is going to be like. Hopefully I live to see, you know, the next 5 to 10 years, because my shadows will be gone. I will be, you know, living my best life and attacking things head on that used to, you know, keep me in lack, keep me in fear, keep me in all of these, you know, traps that society and life has out for us. And so own your stuff, people. Own your stuff. It will only release you. You're in your own prison if you don't.
Yeah, I watched something, very well said, and I agree with so much of that. I was watching something and it was like new levels, same devils. And when that same stuff comes around, who can you be and how can you show up? I feel like I'm going through a little bit of stuff. Because y'all know I don't date. I don't be out here.
I figured you was on a date recently, because I was like, oh, look at how she all dressed up.
Did I go out? I don't know.
I was like, oh, okay.
Out, but I'm not like,
I was like, are you on a date?
Much.
A little fancy places and cocktails. Like,
yeah. The girl gets out, nothing too crazy. But it's like,
how you doing?
Right. I can tell within myself, there's some things that I just don't like. Cool. But there's also some things that I avoid. And in avoiding them, I can see that it does delay. So there's a healing process, but then that part where you're supposed to see how far you've come and how much of that shadow you're supposed to play in it a little bit to just see how you know, delaying that. I'm looking at some things now like, okay, dang, I'm still feeling some kind of way because now I have this situation in front of me and I haven't let this situation be in front of me in a long time. And so now I'm being tested and I feel good.
And how do you handle it this time?
I feel good when I'm at home by myself, journaling, reading my little books. I can hop on here and pop off. But to be interacting with the damn thing.
Yeah, it's your true test.
That is different. And I don't know. So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about shadow side, and I've been thinking of it from a place in each moment where it's like, okay, you know, for example, am I showing up in confidence, or is it the shadow side of things and I have something to prove because I actually don't feel confident? Am I, you know what I'm saying? And always
so the ego shows up instead.
Just looking at those little things, the other side of things, just a little bit more to see what side of the spectrum I'm on. So I'm really cleaning up this shadow side of things, like, like, what are we dealing with here? Are you you know, what you jealous for? Is this the right this, or is this like, I gotta check myself constantly. And I'm grateful again that God has given me space and time to actually address these things. I'm gonna get busy again. I'm not super busy right now, but thank God, because I'm working. This is a lot. This is a lot of stuff.
It's always a lot. It's always a lot. And it doesn't come up until there's some sort of an interaction with another human, you know, in relationships. I mean, those are always our mirrors. Always.
They are.
Always.
It's hard, y'all.
It's hard.
I think I avoid getting close to people low key because I'm sensitive.
And it's like, you know, we can read the books and take in the information and the messages all day, but until it's actually put into practice, that's when the growth actually happens. And so, you know, I'm like that too. Like, I'm very cerebral, intellectual, analytical, and all that. But then, like, the moment that I actually have to put what I know into practice, or even just things about myself that I may not have wanted to face, that's rough.
It's a fight.
It's a fight.
Yeah.
It's a fight. And you don't know how long you're going to be fighting, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, how bloody it's going to get. Like, it can get real ugly.
Yeah, it's an internal battle. It's an internal battle for sure. That's what it is for me. Like, I have to, that's why it's so important to stay in the present. Because if you're in the present, you can catch yourself in these things. If you're so busy worried about getting your, whatever you got to say out, you're in the future because you're already planning on what you're about to say next rather than be in this moment and be in the how do I come with empathy? How do I come with compassion? How do I come with patience in this moment? We're so quick to want to react and respond.
And to make sure, though, when we're asking those questions, that we're still being true to who we are and saying what needs to be said.
Oh, yes.
And getting the points across. Because sometimes
Absolutely.
I'll try to be too passive where I'm not really saying what needs to be said because I'm thinking like, well, let me hear them out. Let me be compassionate. Let me whatever. But I don't want to leave too many more conversations where I didn't say what needed to be said. And I feel like some of this stuff, it is the work, it's the cerebral, it's the knowledge, it's the learning and all that. And then coupled with acting this out with somebody, that actually has to be done even a few times so that integrates in who you are. So that way, when I'm listening, I'm actually listening, and maybe I don't have to do so much convincing myself to listen because I know I'm going to respond with, and like we've been working on this thing. Like I need more practice.
It takes practice, but it takes practice. And wait, I mean, how do you think that people get good at what they do by doing it? Kobe Bryant didn't be the best basketball player because he sat on his ass all day. That's definitely not what it was. He was practicing.
Or his books. He wouldn't
reading and watching film. He didn't get good doing that. He got good because he played against people all the time. And in real time, he was making these decisions in his head very quickly. Basketball is a very fast-paced game. That's why he's so legendary and so great. But, like to what you said, Jaimi, it's not to lose your voice in those situations, but it's to not use your voice for those same things that used to come up, that anger, that jealousy, that thing. And I caught myself recently, oh my God, the other day I went the fuck off on somebody. And I was
every now and then.
But afterwards, I was so quick to check myself, and I never would have done that in my past because I would have been like, yeah, you told him, girl. Like, I would have felt good that I was like the champ in that moment. And I felt so bad after. I was like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, or oh, you should have taken a moment. And that for me, even though I failed the test in real life, the reflection was good enough because that let me know something's changing inside of me. Because old me, like I said, would have felt no remorse. Would have been like, yeah, bitch. You know what I'm saying? And I felt remorseful after. I felt like I had failed myself in that moment because I'm like, damn, you let this person get under your skin and you didn't have to. And instead of facing that in a different way, you got angry and you let that anger come out. There was totally a way to handle that. And so, like I said, it's a work in progress, but I know it's in progress because I felt it after. I felt it after. There was a time, like, Keandra says she's very reflective. So am I. Reflected after, and I felt like an asshole. I totally did. And then I was like, damn, I don't want to do that again. Because I felt bad. It's different when in my past, I thought I was making someone else feel bad. And now I made myself feel bad because I felt like you're better than that now, Erica. Like, better.
You can use your words in different ways.
Off with people. Like, communicate, use your words. Same thing I tell my son all the time. When he gets mad, I'm like, use your words. Just tell mommy what's wrong. And so it's so funny. Like, he teaches me every day because I'm like, yeah. Instead of me going off like a little, use your words, girl. Bobblehead.
It'd be like that.
I would bobblehead and like. What you say? Don't forget, I got the bobblehead in me. I will pop in a second.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was crazy. But that's why, like I said, it's so important to be practicing and
It's
you're not gonna make every
practicing, but
shot.
you got to dive into practice
Yeah.
though. And so that's just my little
Mhm.
note to myself. So I'm just putting myself on blast. Like, honey, I will stay on the shore. I do not need to go on the beach and get in the water. I can stay right here on the sand. I can be a real
See?
sand broad.
And
Okay.
that literally just reminded me of one of our clips from Malik's interview where he was like, "We doing a lot of toe,
Right. A lot of
dipping, like
toe
we
dipping.
just kind of putting our toes in. We ain't really ready to like dive in." And yeah, and it's just like
I'm a toe
uh,
sticker, y'all. Oh, I be
we
like, is the
all toe
water hot? The
stickers, but
water
the
look a little
moment
too cold.
I
I'm
don't
scary.
stick my toes in. I dive in and then realize I shouldn't have done that.
okay.
See, I'm the
That's
one looking at
me.
people like you,
I'm
like
like,
that's why I don't dive in.
"Ooh."
'Cause what the heck?
Yeah, I'm definitely much more cautious too. Like I'm a little I'm just methodical, put it that way.
And I
Yeah.
have that. I get
Yeah.
that, Virgo. What sign are you, Cookie?
I'm a Capricorn, and
Okay.
usually in most situations, the reason why I dive in is because I pretty much plan out all my situations. So when I feel it's safe,
Oh, well,
I'm
when it's
diving in.
safe, yeah, we
No,
going
no,
in.
no, but
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to make every situation feel safe. And then I'm going all in or nothing. Like, I don't do toes in the water.
Oh, okay.
Like, there
Okay.
is no toes in the water.
I'll do
Like,
a moment.
either
like
I'm going
skinny
to
dip
the
or
pool,
nothing.
you gonna catch me on the pool, or you gonna catch me on the lounge chair. That's it. Like,
Now,
I
see,
don't
I'll
do
be the
that
girl
anything.
when the wave come in. I'll kick the little water up. Now I'll see what we working with, but I'm not wearing a bathing suit. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, like I'll just put the legs up, I'll roll up my jeans,
You know what I'm
check
saying? Roll
the
up my
temperature a little
jeans. Yeah.
bit, like see what's popping, and then
Right.
decide.
Maybe do a little reel, a little video, and get back on deck to my towel.
I'm on the floaty,
Be
like,
over
what
here.
up?
I know. We out here
Right.
like, look at Erica out there. Go ahead,
Right, like,
Cookie. We see
How's
you
the
out
water?
there, girl.
How's the water out there?
You can let me know when you come back to the shore. When you get back over here, let me know. Cause
Like, girl, I almost drowned.
man, and I can't, so I really want to be better at that because I'm extremely cautious. And I know part of it is because you need to guard your heart with diligence when it comes to all things. But at the same time, like, dang, girl, how you really gonna grow if you don't grapple with this stuff? And I'd be afraid to grapple. I'm gonna just say that right now. Like, I'm sensitive.
we all
I'm a
have this
sensitive
feeling. I
thug.
can totally relate to that. Totally relate to that.
I love it. Well, that was, great topic. We're on to our last one, which I love the way this is flowing because from being open about your greatness and knowing it's not about you to being able to find your blind spots, then to be able to examine those blind spots so you can take agency over them. This is a nice way to kind of round out the conversation, which is being committed to a thing, yet being detached. Because after all this work, like, how we going? Let's just see what Talib had to say. He says it so much better than me.
It's really about
Let's go to the clip.
That commitment to what it is that you intend to create, what it is how it is you want to experience this life, and be committed to that. And that's the detachment part is that the episode of Wipeout. We can't know. We can't know how things will be received. We can't know how things will progress. But I'm a believer that as you manifest your vision will start to manifest you. You start doing things and you begin to meet people that you didn't know before that create a different experience for you or a different outcome that you didn't expect going into a thing. You get a different opportunity. You get to go and experience something else that expands you, that elevates you. So then why limit yourself with your outcome?
He just read me to filth just now again.
Yeah.
Because he said Wipeout. Oh, God.
He said Wipeout. He said Wipeout. And I loved it because pretty much what he just described was surrender. It is the letting go of the attachment up to the outcome. Like, we will never always know the outcome, but being able to be along for the ride and trusting God and trusting that, life is actually for us and it's not something that not everything is meant to hurt us and to devastate us, but that there actually is good that can come. And along the journey, there's some dope things that'll happen, some dope people, some, like just being able to go along for the ride. Like that was a great definition of something I believe in. But man, that's just hard.
It's so hard. And then he said, as you manifest your vision begins to manifest you. This is how you expand. This is how you polish off. Like we were just talking about, if just speaking for myself, but it goes for everybody. If I don't dive into these things that I'm afraid of, how am I going to be able to test all of this knowledge that I claim to have? It ain't doing nothing up in my brain and in my heart, like unless it can be integrated into real life. And what is that going to add to me? It can't do anything but add to me, but it's that surrender. It's not being calculated, not, being okay with not knowing. And again, it almost goes back full circle to the top of the conversation. It's like, we weren't really raised like that. We were raised like first is 1, then is 2, then after 2, 3. That's it. And then 4, 5, 6, like, so in my brain, it's just like, okay, well, 1 plus this is it. This is, so to be like, oh, let me just go see. It's like,
and not even being able to explore that 9876543 also does it.
Or how about 10, 4, 3, 1, 12, 6? Like, can we just live?
Yeah. What I just only had one comment because I love what both of you have already said, but I honestly think this comes with experience. That's don't think saying. That young people, and not to say that there's not some young people that are super driven and super understanding, because there's some young old souls out there. There are. But I feel like you start to gain this understanding a little later when you've gone through this, when you see God show up, when you see those dots connecting, when you see those magical moments that you can't explain. Then that's when you understand that, oh, all of this happened for this. Oh, it's good. And then all of a sudden, all that negative energy that was there, it just dissipates. Because now you understood why all that had to come for you, for this to happen. So, it's just interesting the way that he had kind of like painted that for us. But that was what was going through my mind. It's like, well, that comes with age and wisdom a little bit. It comes with experience. And that's why it is so important for us who have experience and who have gone through these things to share their experiences and what happened, because that's how we, help pull each other up the mountain, and that's ultimately what we're here for. But yeah, you can always be second guessing yourself all the time, but it's just like, if you have a thought like this, like you said, it circles back to what we were talking back in the beginning. If you have something that God placed on your heart or your soul, it's for you, and you gotta go for it. Those little, people call them downloads, so we've called them nudges before on this show. The little voice in your head that gives you that random idea when you're driving or you're in the shower, or that magical moment. That's for you, and you need to take that and run with it. That is a God-given blessing in your face, and you need to understand that is divine and for you. And so Talib is a G. I love everything that he says.
Yeah. No, that's very well said. And he actually mentioned that a lot too. He talked a lot about process and experience and things like that. So of course, there's so much that we go through that we're not going to know until we go through it. And then on top of that, not being afraid to go through it. Because like you said, we've looked in retrospect and been easy to pinpoint how the dots connected, or how this led to this, led to this, led to this, and it worked out. And, so we have the evidence. It's just, again, I can speak for myself, and I know we've said this a little bit at the top, is like, we get so busy, we get caught up in the day-to-day, we get caught up in what needs to be done and how it should be. That autopilot, that subconscious kicks in a little bit, and I think it makes us a little less open to continue to evolve and expand in a particular way. just because we're so committed to the rigidity of the control, the this, the, but the more often you can shake yourself loose of that, and I think you talked about it too, Cookee, about being in the present moment, I think it will really allow us to connect to that more so we can continue to grow and evolve, through our experiences. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And letting it be what it is. I have to tell myself all the time, girl, you don't know everything. Like, and you don't know everything. So.
And we'll never know everything. Like, there is mystery that we just have to be comfortable with because that's life. We don't know who's going to be president. We don't know, like if someone's going to pass or, you know what I mean? Like a lot of this crazy stuff, we just don't know. As much as we can plan and try to have so much like insight before we, make a move, we're just never going to know. That's just life. And being okay with that, like I struggle with that too. So, all the stuff that you're sharing, Jaimi, I'm with you. I am not the most risk averse. Like I want to know all the
I want to know
all the possible things that I can fall through. Like, where are the areas where I can possibly like tell me first, so I'm gonna know ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, and when you are dealing with other people, whether it be romantically or in work or for an opportunity or for a collaboration, you really got to let go because you just don't know. There's no way you're going to link up with another human being and be able to map out the next 60 years and be like, okay, let's just do this now. Like, you ain't going to know. Tomorrow's going to be a surprise. I don't care how many years in we are, or how many projects in, or how many. That letting go, the loosening of your grip. I've been watching Stephen Furtick in the morning. He has these little 13 to 18 minute moments, and I love them because he went to the doctor and the doctor had told him he had I don't know if it was tendonitis, whatever. One of his joints was hurting in his arm, blah, blah, blah. And so he was feeling a little bit proud, but a little bit hurt. Like, yeah, I've just been lifting so much weights. And the doctor was like, well, you don't really get that from lifting a lot of weight. You get that from holding on to the dumbbell too tight. You need to loosen your grip. So we're running around here proud about everything that we can carry. Like, we got it all together, but it's like, you need to loosen your grip or you're going to end up with a little
hurting yourself. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right. I hear ya.
Let me loosen up this thing.
Loosen the grip.
Oh, I like that. That's probably like a whole topic we could dive into. Loosening the grip.
It's been playing in my mind all week because, again, it's allowing me to see how, and I give myself grace and space, which is another thing we talked about on the show, grace and space to shift and change. Us being aware of it, like Cookee, you getting into an argument or whatever and being aware right after, but that's
I sure did.
But that's growth. That's good. So give yourself grace and space to be like, next time you're gonna catch it before something comes, or maybe halfway through when whatever it is you're moving. So,
and that's why I chose to share it, because I feel like I put myself on blast, and when I put myself on blast is when I learn the most. And so, this is my mirror, because I'm like, okay, this is going to the World Wide Web and I need to check myself. You know what I'm saying? And this is my check myself. Like, I should not have done that. And I'm very remorseful. And, next time I'm going to take a breather before I do something.
I feel you.
But, I love that we talked about alchemy and transmutation, because that was just totally an example of how I could have used those in that situation, but I didn't. I chose to resort back to comfortability and what I know. And
autopilot.
Right. I was like, oh, you're hurting me. I'm going to hurt first. You're pissing me off. So let me hit first,
Let me shut you up. Let me back you down.
It's just, changing that part of me that says, okay, when someone hurts me, how do I respond? How do I react? What's my, what is it?
Yeah, a tool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm still learning that. I don't know yet. I'm happy to say that on the show. I don't know that, I don't know what's going to be my, happy medium, but I'm learning that. And to just know that I'm learning that is just even a step forward in itself.
That's all I'm saying.
And that's it for me right now in this space in my life, is knowing that I catch myself when I fuck up, and that's good enough for me.
That's great. Like, can we just like catching yourself when you mess up?
Yeah,
just give you a little moment.
You know,
awareness,
right? Awareness, mirror, whatever you want, a checkpoint. You know, whatever you want to call it. I see myself now in a light that I've never seen before, and it is TBD.
The level up. It's always TBD. I done checked myself a couple of times up in here. I'm gonna figure out what I need to do and stop being so scary. I be trying to avoid things. Like I really be over here thinking I have a little.
Come on,
bit
get
more
in
control.
the pool, girl.
I'm about
Come
to
get in the pool.
Let me put
or
my hair up.
get your floaty like Cookie and just get
let
in
me
the
get
ocean.
I need some. Yeah, you know, something.
Just grab you a little inflatable flamingo. Go ahead and just get out there. Just sit on it.
You know,
grab your little cocktail.
Come on, I need that. I need that in my life in some areas. And I'm aware and I'm learning some lessons. So it feels good. It's hard, but it feels good at the same time. And I think even when it comes to the transmutation, for me, what has been working is we hear about a morning routine all the doggone time, but it's like really having that and putting a word on my spirit that I can hold on to. Like to start my day like that, it does make it harder for me to go too far left, because it's like, you know, I just heard this, I just read this, I have it on my spirit. I got excited about it. I invited that energy in. So now I'm a little bit softer to see how I can use it, and being able to fall back on, even if I'm just grasping for one sentence I heard earlier that morning, it's still something to take me from, all right. I think I listened to something at one time that said fear and excitement come from the same place. It just depends on where you choose to. It was something, it was much more profound than what I'm saying. But if fear and excitement is the same energy in each moment, can we choose to like be excited, whether it's for growth, whether it's because, you know, whatever it is, because it's that same feeling. You get just as scared when you're on a roller coaster, that feeling before you cut somebody out, before you get afraid of something, when you're super pumped about something, it's still that feeling in your tummy that feels a particular way that you can, you know, whatever. So aware in moments, but yeah, we doing it, queens.
Yeah, girl. Come on. The pool feels nice, girl.
Oh God, Lord, y'all pray for me tonight when you close your eyes and speak to the Lord. Because your girl's been tripping. No, but this was such a great conversation and great after show. Thank you guys again for your transparency, your gems, your nuggets, your time. And before we get out of here, we'll go in order and let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on.
Well, you can find me on IG, Keandra_D. You can also find me on Facebook under the Surrender Society. It's a group that I've created for women who are focused on keeping their well-being at the center, but they are also, you know, just dope, spiritual, practical, professional, ambitious, sexual, sensual, all the things. It was really important for me to create a space where the full woman, a whole woman could be actualized, but also being able to keep their wellness as a priority. So if that sounds like, you know, a group of women in a space where you need to be, come on and join us, and that's where you'll find me.
Yeah, I love Surrender Society. Like I'll be having it's crazy because I'll be having like a moment, like you said, Jaimi, like where you need to grasp onto something to like get you through. And sometimes Keandra is like right on time. Like, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I needed that girl. Oh, I needed that girl. You know, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm better.
Yeah.
You know, okay, I'm better.
I love it.
So I'm Queen Cookee right here. Yeah, right there somewhere. And that's where you guys can follow me if you want to. Or you can find me on YouTube, same handle. And that's where all my videos are. So my latest and greatest is called Love and Good Music, like Jaimi said in the beginning. But you can catch all my stuff there from all my past interviews, my old radio show. Everything's there. All the content is there for you to go and watch and enjoy. And I just love to talk to people. I'm starting to understand and learn that that's my gift. And so I love to be able to share and be that. I don't have a lot of gifts in this world. I don't know how to sew. Like, I don't know how to like change tires or anything, but I know that I am quick on the spot. My brain thinks quickly and I'm like, oh, okay, that's my superpower. And so I'm so grateful that I found it and I use it. And I hope that my voice continues to grow and just be, like I said earlier, light and a healing and a blessing for people out there. I don't mean to do no harm. I don't mean to cuss people out. I really, truly mean to be a good person and spread love and good music.
Right.
And you're definitely doing that, Cookie. Your recent episode of Love and Good Music, where you're sharing the 7 stages of grief, I think that was really powerful. So helping somebody heal, something that's just so painful. That was definitely really good. So check that out, y'all.
Yes, and the links to everything are below. So for those of you watching the replay, you'll be able to find everything that we have going on below, because it's not just this show, but it's everything that they said. So make sure to tune into Kings Speak on Tuesdays. Season 2, we gave it a good run. I'm gonna see what's next. I got some ideas, so I'll run them by y'all. But it's been we got 10 episodes, which means 10 from the men and 10 from us. So
already?
Oh wow.
Yes, this was episode 10. No,
wow,
we
was flying.
Mm-hmm. So
Amazing.
Catch up on those, y'all. Check us out on Spotify if you want to listen on the go. Engage in the content online at Kings Speak, and also at my Instagram.
Ooh, she did it perfect.
I know, because you know what I'm getting used. This is on this side, and I know that because it's closest to the wall. So I'm like, that's what I'm gauging it from. That's my little hack. Either that or knowing that this is on this side, so use the other side. But so engage with us, share, comment, like, give us your feedback. It helps us know what you want to see more of, or just anything. Join the conversations, and follow us all. And thanks for tuning in. So we'll see you guys soon. I want to give a quick
shout out. I want to shout out my friend Jessica. She always watches this show, and she texted me last week, and she said that she looks forward to these, and that she loves everything that we talk about on here, and that she works overnight, so we're her overnight crew. She'd be checking us out. So shout out to my girl Jessica. She has been in our comments before.
Thanks,
and so I just want to give her a little special shout out, because I know she's always tuning into us. So shout out to you, girl.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. I love hearing that. That's dope.
Yeah.
And that's very inspiring too. It's like, again, it's not for the numbers, but sometimes you don't want to feel like you're just talking into the web and that's it. You want people to get value, but it's not.
You never know. It's reaching more than we know. Even if the numbers don't show it, the clips, the shares, everything, people are seeing it. The response is super real. And even like you said on your video earlier, a video you posted 5 years ago to somebody. So look at, this is barely starting. Like, people will be looking for this, searching for these types of, people are waking up. The world is changing. So I feel like as the mindset of men begin to change, they'll be looking for this type of content. And as the mindset of women changes, they'll be looking for this type of content too. And it's going to be right there.
Nailed it. Here you go.
There you go.
Right there for the replay. Press the replay, girl. Press the replay.
Yes. That's what it is. Very well said. I love it. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And have a great rest of your night.
Wow.
Peace.